Okay, so in today's video, I'll be making not really a guide, but a walkthrough for the Shell Lab event on what type of shells you should craft. I will be taking into consideration the new sets as well, even though I haven't really seen many people use a lot of them. I have seen some creative builds with the Toxin set that does the debuff where you do damage every time you debuff, but I will be talking about my strategy for how I would pick the shell that I'll be crafting and how I picked the previous shells from the previous lab events. Now, in general, there is mainly two ways to go about it. You could either choose the Grim Pursuit boss that you farm the least and you pick the most important shell from that boss that you really want or need for your account so you don't have to farm it specifically for that one shell. For example, Nico, Nana, and Sharon. Sharon has Halloween. What else does Sharon have? Pretty much just Halloween as far as I remember. Halloween, Supernova, Golden Lion. No one uses Golden Lion anymore, but you get the gist of it. Nikunan also mainly has Gigabyte and Alicorn. Mainly Gigabyte, really. I'm not seeing many Alicorns nowadays, but you could choose one of these two bosses and pick a shell from there. The other way that you could go about it is you could pick one of the most universal shells, such as Jackal Guard. If you're a turn 1 Fnatic, you could pick Codex. You could pick one of these shells. Even Amber, you will be using Amber quite a bit. Moon Bunny is also a good choice. And you could choose one of these shells that you need a ton of to just help you with the grind for these types of shells, because I do remember I didn't have the Swift Strive, so it's my Moon Bunny for a while. Actually, I'm pretty sure I used an Nocturno to get my first one. Then I got my second one while farming, I think it was Chloros. Yeah. And I don't really farm Chloros that often. The last Chill Lab event, not really the last one. I think the last one I just created a Jackal because you can never have enough Jackals. I think the one before, when Chloros just has released, I did craft a Champion Gator, even though I was vigorously just farming Chloros nonstop. And I crafted the Champion Gator for Raymarie, and I ended up getting 3 more Champion Gators for Ray just by grinding. You see, I have a total of 4. I only use 1, and I only use it on junk. I don't even use junk anymore. I swamp Raymarie off of the Gator back to the Amber. I think it's just a safer build for me, especially because I don't have a P5 Ray. So if you are, let's say you are farming, oh, it's not Chloros, it's Hellkit. If you're farming Hellkit quite a bit, which a lot of people should be doing because you need Moon Bunny, you need the Doom Crow for maybe Rahu. If you still use Rahu, Juan Li, it's good for PvE as well, so you will need a couple of those. Ace Batter is also really good in PvE. It's good on, what's her name? Aesol in PvP as well. So Hellkit is a boss that you will be farming quite a bit, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend you create one of these shells. If you were to create a shell, I'd recommend creating the Swift Strive, so Smite Moon Bunny, because you will need quite a bit of these. I think you can use at least like 3 of them. I'm using 2. I could use more. I need 1 more for my Palin. I'm using 1 on Doki and 1 on Sylvia. I need 1 more on Palin. You could basically never have enough of these. It's one of the best turn 2 shells. One of the best shells that you could use if you're unsure whether you're going first or not, essentially. Chloros is pretty niche. It has Sword 7 is like somehow the best PvE shell in the game, so if you want to craft a Sword 7, it's not a bad idea. Reaper's only used on Aya. Targaryen is actually the best PvE shell for a nuking Lilim, a Lilim that wants to nuke. It's also good on, it's usable in PvP. I've seen a few Lilims run the Bloodbath variant. If it's not Bloodbath, then it's just gonna get one shot. So Chloros is not one of the bosses that you'll farm a lot, but it is not bad if you want to farm it that often. Ringux is also pretty decent. I think I might craft a Bloodbath double Swift Codex, because that's the only Codex I'm missing, and it's good for DVG hits with specific strategies. So this might be the one I'm crafting, or I'll just craft another Jackal with like one of the new sets, which is, I'm mainly looking for Virulent Toxin. This set looks interesting for units like Sharon and Heinrich, but I think I've seen Bach try to use it and it didn't seem that great, or he just used it in at the wrong spot. Unyielding Oath, this is an interesting one. By the way, if you haven't farmed Vespera like a shit ton last 2x, I don't recommend crafting any of the new sets. I don't think they're meta defining. I think they're just like decent at best. From what I'm seeing, I could be wrong. The new meta could pretty much just completely change for all I know. I'm not certain about the new sets yet. The one that I'm most interested about is the one that boosts your turn meter. Do any of these have it? Yeah, this one. The one that boosts your turn meter if you do a non-damaging skill. It advances your turn meter by 20%. It's like an unconditional strive that is usable on... I'm pretty sure it's going to be like really good on Sanya, because every time you move with Sanya, you activate your passive, and I'm pretty sure your passive activates this. So this could be just best in slot for Sanya for all I know. You could, if you want, if you're like an old player, an OG player, you could experiment with one of the new sets. This one is pretty good for units like Yeli. This set, if you already have some good pieces. But I want people to remember that even if the new pieces are slightly better than older ones, you're not going to have the modules to match the old sets, right? Your old pieces are probably just going to be better overall, unless you spend like 50k stamina on Vespera somehow. But it's gonna take a while for the new sets or the new strategies, like the new meta, to actually develop, and we realize that some of the new sets are actually broken. So for this Shill Lab event, you could just get away by crafting a good old double Swift Bulwark Jackal, and you wouldn't really lose out on much, in my opinion. This set is actually pretty interesting because it's unconditional 25% damage. I still think Harvest is better, but this is on count, so this could be good on Messiah instead of Fury, because Fury is just 12%, right? This set is 25% if they have a shield, so this could be pretty great on Messiah against Valerian teams. And I will be looking forward to experimenting with this on Messiah specifically, because I do have 2 really good pieces for this, and it's an 8-piece set, so it's not hard to implement. But I'm not going to be crafting this count just to try this out. I'll just be farming Ringukatsu like I normally would. And now we have the shield boss that most people are going to be farming infinitely, Jackal. I was going to craft a Swift Toxin with Smite Jackal, but what I will do is this is something that I recommend with most events that are time limited and that you have to make a choice, is just wait until the last day, see if the meta develops any further, see if you have better information, and then you can make more educated decisions from there. I will be waiting until I see what people's testings with Virulent Toxin come out to be, if it's really good on Sharon, because I love Sharon. I have a P4 Sharon, I just never use her because it just doesn't seem like there is ever a spot where I would be able to use her, because everyone knows how to counter her except for me. I'm the only one that doesn't know how to counter her apparently. But yeah, if you want the safe craft, if you're a new player, you want the safe craft, just craft a Swift Smite Bulwark Swift Rush or Swift Smite Bloodbath Swift Rush. These are the 2 safest crafts that you can make. If you want to craft character-specific shells, like you want to craft Raymer's Amber, Chuanchi's Amber, just character-specific shells in general, you want to craft the Swift Strive, Swift Smite. I do think Swift Strive, Swift Smite Amber is outdated. I think Moon Bunny is just better. But it's not a bad shout as well. It's not a bad shout if you want to craft one of the your core unit's main shells. Sharon, I don't really see why you would craft any of these. One of my Shill Labs, my first one, I crafted the Bulwark Bloodbath Evil Guard for Fuchu, and then the one after I crafted the Bloodbath Bulwark Aether Plague for Veronica. And I don't use Fuchu or Veronica nowadays, so yeah, I'm not sure about crafting for Sharon. I don't think it's the best idea. But, you know, if there's like a shell here that is really, really good on one character, and it's just one shell, and you don't want to farm a shell boss just for a singular shell, it's not going to be the best bang for your buck that you could possibly get. Nukunana, Gigabyte, and Alicorn are still great. If you're a new player, you'll be farming Nukunana until you can clear other stages, because Artisan and Weifeng is good early game, but late game is just Gigabyte and Alicorn, and I'd argue that it's just Gigabyte really. I'm not seeing many Alicorns nowadays. Gigabyte is still the best for Linglo and Sanya. The best Gigabyte is Strive, Bloodbath, and Evil Guard. I really want to test out Chasing Dawn instead of Strive, because a lot of people just avoid targeting your healer to not push them up sometimes, but a lot of the times they would also just target your healer just to kill them as fast as possible. But this is how I would think about crafting. Whether you want to craft a specific shell, you want to craft one of the most used shells, like the safest bet would be Jackal. But overall, I'd say wait, ask around, see if any of the new sets are actually pretty usable or like secretly broken, and then you can make a better decision from there.